have some more fun with kinetic sand. And I'm going to tell some spooky stories, but instead of thinking long and hard about all my creepy experiences for now, I am going to read some other people's first-hand experiences. Some night shift footprints. I'm a snowmaker in Ontario, Canada, and work the overnight shift from 8 to 8. This just happened to me on tonight's shift, and I'm still shaking. When we were making snow, we basically start up the snow guns and leave them unattended for hours on end and go take naps. So tonight, I'm only working with my supervisor, and when we're done setting up, we decide to start a little campfire and shoot the shit near the chalet. After about 3 hours of talking, my supervisor leaves the campfire and heads to his normal sleep spot, a hose trailer, which is about a 5-minute ride from where we were. I decided to stay at the fire because it was cozy and I didn't feel like taking a nap. Well, after about 45 minutes, I doze off and slump into my chair. It's about 3 a.m. at that point. I wake up to a smoldering fire and can't believe I fell asleep. I stand up, stretch, and spin around to head back to the staff room for lunch, and my heart sinks. Behind my chair was very clear footprints. They were less than a foot away from my chair. I start looking around because I'm scared. My back was to a forest and the footprints were coming from there. I frantically call my supervisor on the radio and tell him what is going on. When he was on the way, I realized that maybe he's messing with me. But when he arrived and I saw the look on his face, I knew that he didn't make those footprints. The boot prints were much larger than my supervisor's too. We followed the prints, which lead pretty far into the bush and then to a sidewalk. It's 4:45, so no one is out. The tracks were basically a loop. They came from the forest and went back into the same spot. I don't think I'm going to work night shift ever again. That's a true story. I would say they got really lucky. You know, that actually, did I tell the story? I might have actually. You know what? Just in case I actually told this story, I'm gonna hold off. It made me think of something I went through. But I need to rewatch the first sand and spooky stories that I did, so that there's no repeats. I love this sand. And just before I read like more stories, it's so wild. I play with this more than my son does. It's just nice to touch. It's super satisfying. It's almost like liquidish. Digging my hands into it and letting it fall. I'm trying to make her now tower. Just to make it all fall. I have to keep refreshing my screen because I have it. Now it wants to be compact. Now it doesn't want to do the thing. Probably read the next story. I have the other little rake. Let's see. Read ahead real quick to make sure there's nothing like inappropriate. Like a melon baller. It's interesting. Sand balls. Kind of. That one's perfect, almost like. Amazing. Okay, so this one's just called Short Story. I was the age of 12 when this happened. Oops. My dad thought that it would be a good idea for him to take us to a trip. We own a cabin south side, so it was going to be a long trip. The day before we were heading out, it was around 9 p.m. and I was still getting my bag ready. My basement isn't large, it's like the size of a normal garage. I had to go down there and pick up the flashlights. I know my house pretty well, mostly because we lived there since I was 3, so I can walk with the lights off. My parents never really let me watch scary movies, so I didn't really know who Jason, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers were, so I wasn't really scared when I went down to the basement with the lights off to test my skills. When I found the flashlights, I looked at the TV we had down at the basement. That's when I saw it. I saw someone standing on the other side of the couch. That's when I yelled, "Drop the lights," and ran to my dad to tell my dad that there was someone down in the basement. My dad grabbed a kitchen knife. Me and my dad heard the fence door open and slam shut. We called the cops, and it turns out the man escaped from the backyard. My Xbox and some clothes from the laundry were stolen. To this day, I'm glad that we didn't leave the trip without me going down there. Oh my goodness. To be 12 years old, that could have gone so wrong. Oh my gosh. That real life horror is what gets me more than any ghosts, goblins, or anything like that. Give me some sage or something. I can handle the ghosts. The idea of the human element, the monster within man, that's what's far more scary to me. So yeah, that's probably a true story, because unfortunately stuff like that happens. They're very lucky, very blessed that nothing happened, because sometimes they are not there to just steal some stuff. I'm supposed to be relaxing, y'all. I'm not sure how I'm doing that when I'm talking about this scary stuff, like lock your door. Oops, I hope that was not. But yeah, I'll woo you to sleep. Stories of home invasions, because that's peaceful. Let's see. Maybe one more. It's a long one. Maybe not. Gonna have to. Again, these came out so like. Now I have to like satisfyingly smash them. Pancakes. Flap or $1 pancakes, like little flapjacks. See this story. I'm like just skimming it, so I hope it's pretty appropriate. I won't get flagged or anything. Not that, my little chin, but still, it can happen. So this one is called Anna. Look at that, like a waterfall. Let's try it again. Anna. When I went to college, I separated from all my close friends. I will meet them at a bar during weekends sometimes, and it was lit. I will say I'm tall and in good shape, so some girls find me attractive. This night made me stop partying and stop my drinking condition. It's kind of written like quickly, just so maybe some of these are true stories. They're not trying to be too stylistic. I was called by one of my friends named Mike. He said that they were going to party and that if I wanted to join, and I decided to go. I live in the dorm, so I have a roommate who I'm close to, but every weekend he leaves to see his family, so I never really see him unless he's sick or it's the weekdays. I went to a college like that. It was so boring when you were one of the few students who lived out of state because everybody would just go home, or most of them would just go home. And so most of the parties were never on campus, so they were somewhere else. So that was a little bit of a pain getting to those, because it was like, God, why can't it just be here? But this guy's dealing with what I dealt with, I understand. So, back to his part-time roommate. Let's see. Okay. Once I came to the party, I drank a few beers, did some shots, but I was having a good time. I met this one chick, I'll change it to girl, named Anna. She was really attractive. She had hazel eyes and also blonde hair, same age as me, 20. We talked for hours until I felt dizzy, and I decided it was time to go. And I left, picked up by an Uber, but before getting in the car, I can see Anna getting in her car. I thought she was heading home, and I was correct. I came to my dorm and didn't see my roommate, so in my head I thought he left. I went to bed with my clothes on. It was 1:45 before I went to bed. I woke up to a breeze in my room. It was freezing inside, and I went out of my room and saw that my door was open. I checked outside and didn't see anyone except the light that was in the hall. I closed the door and called out to my roommate, thinking that he came home, but there was no answer. I checked his room. He wasn't there. That's when I heard it. I paused when I heard the breathing of a man. Dun, dun, dun. The room wasn't that dark since I have a nightlight when I wake up to get a glass of water. The sound was coming off of the other room where my roommate sleeps. I went in, turned on the light, and I saw Anna and a guy who was around 200 pounds and taller than me. I yelled and ran off, alerting the security guard. The police were called, and they were both arrested. It turns out Anna left the exact same time, but the scariest part is that I was followed And when I went in my dorm, I didn't lock my door. So the big guy came in with Anna to rob everything, or at least that's what I'm hoping for. I can't believe the luck that I had with this. Please, folks, use this as a warning. Be careful who you eat. Oh, this is true. Always be situationally aware. Check the rear view and make sure you're not being tailed. It's crummy that we have to be so careful, but that's how we live without any crazy stuff going on. All right. I'll definitely tell some more of my own. I've got to sit and think, and then I've also got to cross-reference and make sure I didn't already tell the ones that I'm going to tell, so that it's not a repeat. So that it's not boring. I'm supposed to relax you to sleep, not bore you to sleep. So I apologize for any wayward noise that may have been in the background earlier in the video. I'll do my best to edit that out. moves easier